Hey guys, it's Michelle, and I am the founder of Women Who Wow, the premier online coaching and mentoring platform for the seriously driven woman entrepreneur. And today I want to talk with you guys about the 10 steps you've got to take if you are to make income on demand as an expert, right? So we're really talking about being an expert in a particular subject matter, coach, consultant, something like that, right? And so if this is you, if you want to get paid for your mental real estate versus like something you build or something you make, then this class is for you. And I'm going to get through as much as I can. I did do a written little masterclass prep on this. And so I invite you to look that up. I'll certainly put that link in the comments below, but I want to talk you through some of the 10 steps, as many as I can get through, because I do have a 1 o'clock call. I am running a program called Project 10K right now. It's fully guaranteed that if you don't make 10 times back your investment in this program, then I'll refund your money. I've never done that before, but I'm super excited to do that with 10 women. I have 1 space left, so if that is you, then definitely message me about those details. But the 10 steps I'm going to cover today will take you through everything you need to do in order to make money on demand. The cool thing about making money as a coach, as an expert, is that you are not limited by how much time you have. If you're creating leveraged income, which is our purpose here today, you're not limited in terms of geography. You're not limited in terms of like your the cost of goods sold. Like, you're not limited by any of that. And so you can literally create income when you need it. You can go to your email list the same as you might go to a savings account or something like that. And so these steps actually get you there. And I don't want anybody to think that because this is a free training that there's not as much value in here. This is exactly what I walk my clients through. The key is really application of these steps, right? And so if you have any questions about how you might apply these steps, please put them in the comments below. If I don't see them while we're live, or if you're watching a replay, definitely tag me in them, or I'll look back at them a little bit later on and try to get to you personally. But the first step is naming and claiming your true mastery. The biggest mistake coaches and consultants make is they go into something that they feel like they can make money doing. Why? Because they see somebody else making money doing it. And they start to think in terms of, well, it's easier to make money doing that. And that's how you have life coaches turn to business coaches, turn to health coaches, because they're trying to figure out how to make money off of, their mental real estate, but they're actually shifting. They're not owning and standing in their true mastery. They're just trying to jump ship whenever they think it could be easier to make money some other way. So you really want to own and name and claim your true mastery. I would never encourage someone to sell something they haven't mastered, right? I believe that's where we get a lot of charlatans in this industry, where people are like, well, I've read a few books, and so I'll talk about XYZ. If you haven't truly mastered it, it's going to be very hard to make money at it, especially in the long haul. Because if you haven't mastered it, then it's going to be hard to put your own flavor on it. If you don't have your own flavor on it, then it's very hard to be the obvious choice for people to choose, right? So I want you to name and claim your area of mastery. If you are here and you are watching this live, name and claim it right here in the comments below, right? I am the best at blank, right? Name it and claim it. Or you can just say like, here is why people should hire me over any other competitor out there, right? You want to name and claim it. And then you do not want to be swayed. The truth is, you can make money selling nearly any expertise you can think of. I always tell this story, but I will never forget running across this person who was selling an event. I saw it because it was in a hotel in Arizona when I was there for a different event. And she was selling a trip to Egypt. And on this trip to Egypt, you would visit the pyramids, and you would visit the gods and goddesses of the pyramids. And the kicker is all of this took place in a hotel room in Phoenix. And there was actually no trip to Egypt. It was only a trip in your mind to Egypt. So these people paid thousands of dollars. In some cases, they flew to Phoenix, Arizona to go into a hotel room to envision visiting Egypt. Now, if she can make money doing that, I read this article about a woman, I think it was in like Entrepreneur Magazine or maybe entrepreneur.com, about a woman who makes $100,000 selling socks that she's worn around and sweated in, and she sells them to people who have foot fetishes or whatever, right? Like, there is no way that you cannot make money doing what you have truly mastered. And so I really want you to name and claim that area of mastery. It is the first step, and it will help you, keep from jumping ship and starting to follow the Me Too movement. It's a different Me Too movement. It's a movement of, I can do that too. Oh, wait, I've read a book on this. I've read a book on that. Like, I can do that too. So you want to only market what you've mastered. That makes a humongous difference, right? So Brenda's here. She says she has mastered decluttering to create your home oasis. Yeah, she actually mastered how to declutter your house. She moved from 3,100 square feet to 310 square feet in 331 days, in 31 days. So that's her area of mastery. You're not going to find anyone else who's done that. So I want to identify yours. What do you love to talk about? What could you talk about for hours? What process or tool or strategy have you mastered, right? When you can find the intersection of what you have mastered and what you love to learn about and talk about, then what happens is you can easily infuse your viewpoint. What people would say, actually Simon T. Bailey would say to me, I love to hear and he would say, your twisted little view of business, right? I've mastered the art of selling and creating a profitable business and using content marketing to do that and becoming this unknown person who actually can take the stage with big names. I've mastered that, right? Like, I know how to do this. And so because it's my true area of mastery, it's easy for me to infuse my viewpoint and my personality in this. So once you've identified your area of mastery, you also want to consider, where are you different than everybody else who has also mastered that, right? Where is your view different? Where is your take different? What do you offer that nobody else offers? So that's kind of a step 1B. But true mastery is required for you to make money on demand. Can you make some money selling something you truly haven't mastered? Sure. And you can make good money for a little bit of time, but you will always find yourself jumping ship if you're not operating in your zone of genius, in your area of true mastery. So that's step 1. Step 2, I want you to choose your market based on the right ingredients, right? So a lot of times people would choose a market, again, based on like what other people are telling them or how they see other people marketing or what have you. And for you, just to lay it out, like the right market they should need help with what you've mastered, and they should know they need help with what you've mastered, right? So you don't want to try to market to somebody who doesn't know they need your help, right? They should need your help, and they should know they need your help. They should be willing and able to pay for this help. Bonus points if these people can be found in groups, in mass, cheaply or freely or easily, right? And so this is what you really need to consider. Sometimes the market our hearts go out to isn't necessarily the market we need to choose for our business, simply because the finances don't add up, right? I fell into this. I really wanted to help mompreneurs or women who wanted to be mompreneurs, and it was a lesson in patience for sure. But people who identified as mompreneurs back then, they weren't super serious about business. They weren't investing in their business. They had to ask someone if they could do that or, whatever. And the truth is, they weren't all in. I shifted my focus to women who were already in business, who are like, I got to figure this out. And I've seen enough success to know I can do it, but I've got to make this happen. And so barely a shift in my audience, but it changed everything. And so the step 2 is choose your market based on those 4 things. And again, bonus, if they're all listening to the same podcast, like I'm super pumped. I get to be on Mike McCallowix's podcast, his Profit First podcast, and I am really excited about that. Mike and I go way back, but you might have read his books like The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur or The Pumpkin Plan is my favorite book of his. But a lot of entrepreneurs are listening to his podcast, right? So they can be reached easily, freely, right? I'm not paying to be on the podcast, and they can be reached in mass. So where are your people hanging out? So once you've identified who they are, it's really easy to find out where they're hanging out or what they're reading or who they're listening to or what they're paying attention to, right? So Alicia is naming and claiming, I think. She said she is helping people find and package the message and words they want to say to their ideal audience and package it in books and platforms. Absolutely. So this is something that you need to be able to identify. Why Alicia? Why should I go to you to package my message in books and platforms? Why should I go to you over any other option out there, right? This is a question that we don't ask ourselves, but other people are asking it in different ways, right? Because let's face facts. As experts and coaches, are we not all competing in an environment where information is free to get, right? Like we're not starving for information these days. Our clients, our prospects, they're not having to like drive to the local library to get, to get information, right? It's all right there. Information is just it's actually clutter these days. And so if we cannot answer and call out why you would come to me over any other option out there, then we're going to miss the boat. So we need to name and claim our mastery, right? But we also need to let them know why it's different. Why me over anybody else? And that's step one. Step two, choose your market. So if you guys are here live or if you're watching the replay, put your market in. Do you know who your market is? It's okay to have more than one. But if you put in like demographics, I'm going to be mad at you, right? Like demographics don't buy. People buy. So who are the people that you really have a heart to serve that meet those qualifications? They know they need your help. They can afford your help. They're willing to pay for your help, and they actually have the problem that you solve. So that's step two. I want to move on to step three while you guys name and claim your audience in the comments. I would love that. Step three is you have got to get to know your market intimately. She who knows her market best wins every single time. Why? Because when you know your market intimately, you don't have to guess what they want. You don't have to guess the price point. You don't have to guess what they need to hear. You don't have to guess what they need to hear to get off the fence. You don't need to guess how to inspire them to take action. You don't need any of that because you know them intimately. One of the things that I used to joke about, I probably shouldn't joke now, but Angelina Jolie, that's not really my husband's type, but like Jennifer Aniston, like could come into my house and, they would turn my husband's head, right? But they couldn't do for him what I do for him, right? I know that. I know the man intimately. And so I'm going to be better at meeting his needs than anybody else who doesn't know him intimately. And so the same is true in your marketing. So once you've identified your true area of mastery that they can't get anywhere else, and then you identify your market, and basically are the numbers making sense, right? Like, can these people be reached? Do they know they need your help? Are they willing to pay for your help? Are they able to pay for your help? Et cetera, right? And then step three, get to know them intimately. This is the fuel of all of your marketing. If you do not know them, you will always struggle at connecting with them, right? A lot of people, it's like when people say, I want to get closer with my kids. Well, listen to them. Do not listen to them if they don't know you're listening. For God's sakes, I eavesdropped a couple weeks ago, and I have regretted it. Let's just say that. I've regretted it. But if you want to get to know your kids, ask them about themselves. Talk to them. Listen more than you talk, right? When I did more speaking for other organizations like that paid me to come in and speak, I would always require a full day's pay, obviously. But part of that is I would come and I'd hang out at the conference. I would hang out in the bathrooms. I would hang out in the hallways. I would listen to what people were talking about. I would eavesdrop to get to know the audience better, right? What you tell me about your audience and what I hear in the hallway or in the bathroom are two different things most often. So you've got to be able to get to know your market intimately. Listen to them. Watch what they're saying. Listen to what they're not saying. Listen to the topics they don't talk about, they don't make public. Like really watch and learn and get to know them. Brenda is naming it and claiming it. She said she serves the people who are stuck in their overwhelm of their clutter and don't know where or how to not only start but complete their decluttering. Absolutely. Brenda, I would say I work with Marie Kondo victims. I would say that I work with people who decluttering didn't work. I would really go after that. These are people who have tried all the tricks and stuff and they've never done it your way. Alicia says she works with abuse and trauma survivors who have found their voice and want to be a voice to the voiceless. That is really awesome. It's very, very, very deliberate and specific. I love that. So how do you get to know your people intimately? You do listen to them, right? Like that's how we get to know anyone intimately. We just listen to them talk. We listen and talk about themselves and the problem that they're going after or they're going through right now. You want to know how these people think, what they need, how they define and describe what they need. That's really critical, right? When I was a business coach working one-to-one, no one was saying, you know, my big problem, I can't find the right business coach. No one said that. I wish they said that. That would be easy for me, right? But they didn't say that. They defined and described their problem differently. They would say that they didn't make enough profit. Their pricing was off. They would talk about how it was so hard to find clients. They would use phrases like feast or famine. They would say they're at the end of their warm market. They would, whatever, right? They had different ways of describing and defining what their problem was. And so you want to be able to know how they're defining and describing it. Remember, because if you are speaking their language, they think you're their person. And funny thing, you are their person, right? All right, so I'm going to move on to step 4, which is uncover the milestones they want, the mishaps they've endured, and the money they have wasted on their journey. You want to call out the money they've wasted on their journey. Long ago, I talked about how I worked with coaching and blueprint victims. I talked about how people were spending a lot of money on big names who didn't know what it was like to be a small person in a small town. I talked about the money they wasted on other coaches. I didn't talk bad about the coaches. I just said, I get it. I get it and I can help. One of the mistakes we make trying to be an expert in a specific area is we don't call out the mishaps, right? We don't call out the things they actually want to do in their world. We don't say, I understand that you want X, Y, Z. We don't say that, listen, I made that mishap or that mistake too. We don't talk about the wasted money. We actually think that if we bring out the money they've wasted in the past, it'll make them less ready to invest again. And in truth, it makes them more ready to invest again because they're like, you know what? She gets it. She knows I wasted money there and she knows why, right? So you uncover the milestones, the mishaps, and the money wasted. That's a huge one. So if you are going through this program and you can press pause, I'm live right now, but if you can press pause right now and make a list of the mistakes they've made, make a list of what they've probably wasted their money on. It's absolutely huge for getting them to have a new level of trust for you as an expert. Michelle said she is the Keto is Easy coach. Women 40 and over who have lost themselves and want to find hope and confidence but can't find someone genuine that they can trust to get them healthy and inspired. I love that. Another thing for Keto is Easy is I think people who have failed on every diet, like measuring and counting and all of that, that is something that most people who do really well on keto have actually failed at a lot of other things, right? And I love really, really rich food. And so it works for me. All right, step 5, we are needing to create a tangible offer that solves a problem. And I was very frank about this in my article that I wrote, the Masterclass prep for this, and I will post the link to that underneath this video. But I resisted this for a long time, and I had this belief that I was special, that my work was too fancy and too nuanced and too this and too that in order to call out my system. And I also felt like if I made a system, like a tangible solution, that somehow I would be lumped into all these other people who were selling the step-by-step, paint-by-numbers kind of solution. And I didn't want that. And I allowed my ego to keep me from giving people what they really wanted. which is a tangible offer. And when I launched Rapid Results, it was one of my first online programs that I did on my own. And it sold out, like, I think I launched it every other month for, I don't know, 18 months or so. And it sold out every time within minutes. And people were hungry for a step-to-step and for something tangible that they could sink their teeth into. And you know what? It didn't keep people from hiring me. It compelled them to hire me, because they could then see my thought process, and they could then see how I went into each of these different steps, right? They could see a little bit of a heart of the work that I did. So I'm I really want to implore you, I guess, to create a tangible offer, a solution. Just sketch it out. If you're a Women Who Wow member, send it to me to look at, but sketch out what your solution is. Sketch out what your tangible offer is. What steps do you take people through? So as an example, I know Brenda has a book. Alicia, consider doing a masterclass like this of your own for your target market. What are the 10 steps they need to do to give the voiceless a voice? Brenda, you have your book, but you could do something like what I'm doing right here. Michelle, maybe you could call out the 10 steps that everyone forgets, or that people get hung up on when they're starting a keto diet, right? Whenever you can give them something really tangible, then they start to trust you more. I always do call out that my stuff is nuanced and that application is important. How you apply it, how consistently you apply it, that's really what brings you to the goal, or almost to the goal, or nowhere close to the goal. It all depends on the application. Again, information is not our issue here. It's not that, how to become, rich and thin and in love is hidden from all of us, right? It's all about our implementation or application of that. So I want to move on because I'm running out of time. Step 6 is to create and maintain your list of 50. And this is really important because people will focus intently on growing their list, right? Focus all the time on getting their email list up, or I had this number of people on my email list, and that's an important number to keep track of. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I also think that when you are launching something, when you're trying to sell something, when you're trying to hit an income goal, it's important to have an actual list of names of people that you are going to invite in order to, hit your numbers, right? There's nothing wrong with inviting people, personally inviting them, having calls with people, inviting people to message you with questions, right? Like if you are on this call and you're not part of Project 10K, I invite you to message me. There's one spot left, right? I might not see you on the call, I might not see you watching the replay, but I'd love to have you in this. So have your list of 50, invite people. Most of the time, people might end up with a list of 20. And they don't stretch themselves beyond that. If that's all you have, I'll take it. But here's the deal. When someone says yes to you, you cross their name off and you replace their name with somebody you haven't asked yet. And when somebody says no to you, you scratch their name off and you replace their name with somebody who has, who said yes or who might say yes, right? So you always have a list of 50. You don't, have 5 yeses, 5 nos and end up with a list of 40. You always replace these names. This keeps you in toe-to-toe, nose-to-nose selling. It is absolutely critical to meeting your income goals. Moving on to step 7. Quick note, step 6, BCCs don't count. Go toe-to-toe. Michelle, I'd love for you to sign up for this. Message me for details, whatever. Step 7, daily habits that build your list and your bottom line. The things that you do every day are far more important than the things you're going to do one day. The small little steps you take are much more impactful than the big breaks that you may or may not get. I promise you this, one day you will look back and say, I got here because, and the blank is, that fill in the blank will not be because so-and-so had me on their podcast. It will not be because I got on Good Morning America. It will not be because I had a best-selling book. It will not be any of those things. It will be because of the step-by-step stuff that you did every single day. Step 8, get down with OPP, other people's people. This does not mean going into a flurry of affiliate marketing or joint venture marketing. I've never done that ever. Don't want to do it. Won't do it. but I've still made use of OPP. I've still made use of other people's people. Getting on the news is part of that. Getting on podcasts is part of that. Guest blogging is part of that. Writing and being published in journals that are industry-specific journals. These are things that get you in front of other people's people where you can make a difference, right? This grows your list, it grows your brand, and it allows you to sell more effectively. Steps 9 and 10, refine and repeat. These are things that are never done. That's why I hate when people say, I'm going to take 3 weeks and I'm going to work on my funnels and my website or whatever. It's like, just when you're done, you're going to want to tweak it. You're going to want to refine it, right? Isn't that what we do? Isn't what our brands are? We're constantly refining. We're constantly refining and then repeating. So I appreciate you guys being here. I rushed through those last 5 steps. If you just jumped on, definitely watch the replay. Put your comments, put your answers to the questions I asked in the comments below, and message me about Project 10K if you have not already done so. And I'm also going into the fall season of VIP days. I have a very specific focus on that, so very excited about that. But I appreciate you guys, and I look forward to hearing how this impacts you and what other questions you have. Bye, guys.